Out of the blue, Lucasfilm arrives and they say, no, we're not getting a Rey movie. No, we're not getting the Mandoverse movie. We're getting the Mandalorian movie. It sounds like Dave Filoni has been pushed to the sideline in favor of his old compatriot, Jon Favreau. Let's talk about that on That Park Place. Good morning, everyone. I am Jonas J. Campbell, an investigative reporter for That Park Place, and with me is John from Cinepark Rangers. How's it going, John?
It's going quite well, Jonas. Thanks for having me today. Appreciate it.
So glad that you are here, and thank you so much for coming in to talk about the latest news in Star Wars. Of course, we talk about that all the time because it's Disney, and I keep holding out this hope that maybe something will happen to fix Star Wars. I can't tell you how I've got it, but I do have a 4K copy of what's pretty close to an original print of Star Wars over here on my laptop, and sometimes I like to boot that thing up and remember the old days before the dark times.
Yes, me too. I don't have that copy, but I do reminisce a lot about the old days.
Maybe someday you'll receive that. So let's get into it before we waste anybody's time. I don't want to do that, although I do like to jabber on sometimes. This tweet came out right before we did the Pro Show yesterday on the WDW Pro channel. The Mandalorian account tweeted out, "The Mandalorian and Grogu are headed to the big screen, directed by Jon Favreau and produced by Favreau, Kathleen Kennedy, and Dave Filoni. The Mandalorian and Grogu will go into production later this year." Now, and this is the way, and it links out to StarWars.com. Now, we'll get into that in just a moment, but I got to say, as far as run-on sentences go, where does your title start, and where do the names of people stop, and the title of your movie start? Guys, you might need to go fix this from a grammatical standpoint. Such a ridiculous thing to say, but I'm sorry, I'm here for it. Any initial reaction to that, John?
Yeah, feels strange, to say the least, I think. Yeah. Go ahead.
What were we talking about? What was the Star Wars community talking about before this tweet came out?
We were talking about that Rey movie, I thought.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that thing was soaking up all of the news here, and I would say it got a little bit more traction than anybody thought it did. It was just another ridiculous statement from a creative in a long string of ridiculous statements from creatives at Disney in particular, where they try to go after and villainize people who haven't even watched your movie yet, but don't like how you're talking about it.
Yeah, no, it feels super out of left field, but also oddly calculated, and I don't know. Yeah, my immediate thought was, oh, well, then Mando season 4 is scrapped. But just doing a little bit of digging into this, that doesn't seem to be the case. It looks like that's still in development as well.
Yeah. That's let's read this article, and then we're going to get into that. This one by StarWars.com team, which I always love when they drop the big news over there at StarWars.com team. The Mandalorian and Grogu are embarking on a new adventure to movie theaters. Right there. First big fact, this is going to theaters, making it clear it is not Disney Plus. Directed by Jon Favreau, produced by Favreau, Kathleen Kennedy, and Dave Filoni. Here, that's where it's easier. They put the italics in there. That's how you solve it. We'll go into production in 2024. By the way, you can do italics in tweets, Lucasfilm. Want to let you know that. I have loved telling stories set in the rich world that George Lucas created. Again, emphasis on George Lucas. Very good. The prospect of bringing The Mandalorian and his apprentice Grogu to the big screen is extremely exciting. I love the word apprentice there. Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni have ushered into Star Wars 2 new and beloved characters, and this new story is a perfect fit for the big screen, added Kathleen Kennedy, president of Lucasfilm. Emphasizing there, yes, Kathleen Kennedy is still president of Lucasfilm. The Mandalorian and Grogu will lead Lucasfilm's ongoing feature development slate, including films helmed by Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, so she's still there, James Mangold, still there, Dave Filoni, Chief Creative Officer, who is also currently developing Ahsoka Season 2 among those in the works. This is the way. Good little tag there to add that to the end. Yeah, that's their new The Force will be with us, or with you, or May the Force be with you. It's so hard not to say May the 4th be with you, even though it's an awkward phrase. They tend to only use it when they're advertising May 4th these days. So do you have any observations there before we get into the clarifications that were issued?
Yeah, I think that the fact that this kind of comes out of left field. The Rey movie is still in place. It seems James Mangold's movie is still in place. It seems even after the incredible flop that was Dial of Destiny.
Yeah.
And then the Filoni, movie, obviously, like, the Mando Grogu movie is interesting because I thought that we were just getting, the one that Dave was going to do that kind of encapsulated the stories of, Mando, Boba Fett, Ahsoka, and, tie it all in a bow, or Skeleton Crew, I guess, as well. But yeah, it's strange.
Yes,
I guess, because that's the best thing I've got for just the news at a base level.
Right, because the last time they did announcements of movies, it was at Star Wars Celebration. I forget if that was May. Was that May? Maybe it was. It was in the first half of the year.
Yes, yes.
And what was announced was, of course, the Rey movie, and that was the official announcement of the Rey movie. And props to WDW Pro for saying that was going to happen. Then the Dawn of the Jedi movie with James Mangold, and then the only time they talked about a Mandalorian movie was with Dave Filoni's Mandoverse movie. Mm-hmm. So, and this is emphasis here put by Boris Kitt, and this is from 12:08 p.m. Eastern time. So this is the first tweet from the author of an article we're about to read from the Hollywood Reporter. Star Wars: the next movie won't be the Rey-centric feature that was implied last year, but rather one centered on the popular Mando and Grogu. So, Star Wars, I don't know, that a little out of context. Star Wars Mandalorian movie ago with Jon Favreau directing. So they're emphasizing here that the next movie is not the Rey movie, and I think that was originally slated for 2026. This one, however, is jumping the line here. So let's see. Yep, and here emphasizing, which the studio said will be the first Star Wars movie to go into production since 2019's the Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. There'd been some speculation that a film starring Daisy Ridley would be the first out of the gate. I wonder where that speculation came from.
Yeah. Who could have guessed?
But it appears that the project will take longer to hit hyperspace. Oh, that's lovely. There's that quote from Jon Favreau again. Let's see, right here. Lucasfilm did not specify a date for the movie, though there is an untitled Star Wars feature set for December 19th, 2025. And the development potentially marks a turning of the page for Lucasfilm, which has struggled to articulate a vision for what Star Wars should be on the big screen. Ooh.
It's putting it mildly.
Okay, so my question while reading this is this not something that Disney or Lucasfilm would have gone directly to the Hollywood Reporter to say that they're doing this? Because according to this is 9 a.m. So I would say that, and that could be Pacific time, whereas we're on Eastern time. So if it was Eastern time, that's noon, right?
Yep.
Don't you think this is something that Disney would have had the sign off on what goes into this, or to add that extra context to say, yes, this is in fact the first movie before the Rey movie?
Yeah, it does. It certainly feels that way. No, I mean, for me, it's like I have extremely limited knowledge on anything like concerning this stuff, bar what comes out with these articles. But certainly, it definitely feels that way. It feels like maybe the Rey movie was catching a little too much heat. There was, there's a little too much negative discourse around it, and they were like, "Oh, no. Remember, Mando and Grogu. You guys like them. You guys like Baby Yoda. Remember that."
It's true. It's true. Grogu, sorry, and to the market that likes him, his name is Baby Yoda. And when I say the market that likes him, girls like Baby Yoda, and men like the Mandalorian because he's this tough guy who's yeah, exactly. He's John Wayne and Boba Fett merged into one. Yeah. So who's not going to like that? And then of course Baby Yoda is adorable. Now they got a little weird in season 3, and maybe they'll be thankful not a lot of people watch season 3 of The Mandalorian when it comes down to it. But the one thing I do want to emphasize here, they're talking about other projects here, and they say, including a big screen movie to be directed by Filoni, which is also expected to feature characters from the Disney Plus show. So there's an emphasis placed here that Dave Filoni is still getting the Mandoverse movie, even though the Grogu and Mandalorian, the Mandalorian and Grogu are they're definitely jumping the line, and this is meant to replace whatever anyone else's image of that Mandoverse movie was supposed to be.
Yeah.
So the last thing I'll add here is a bit of a footnote here. This is from 2023. November of 2023. Dave Filoni says his Mandalorian movie will not just mirror past movies; it has to be visually different. This is in reference to the Vanity Fair article in which they kind of dropped out of nowhere that Dave Filoni was made the chief content officer at Lucasfilm. Before that, he was the highest ranking creative executive at Lucasfilm, but now he is the literal, with a capital C, chief content officer at Lucasfilm. So when we all read that Vanity Fair article, it was a little vague as to what was going on there. Also, the strange thing I noticed is that's the same author at Vanity Fair whenever they want to do a fluff piece on Dave Filoni. But okay. So this article right here says, in particular, this includes a feature that is expected to conclude the Mandalorian storyline and its various spin-off stories. However, fans who believe that they have seen all the franchise has to offer should reconsider, as Filoni promises to make this movie something different. So this is supposed to be, until 2 days ago, I think we all assumed that this was the Mandalorian movie. Like this was this was going to be the moment when we see the Mandalorian on big screen, and in a lot of the Ahsoka, Mandalorian. I feel like there's another one in there. Is there another? Book of Boba Fett. That these were all something that Favreau and Filoni, and they were kind of trying to do this bait and switch to reference another Lucasfilm property. They had the Golden Idol in one hand. That was Jon Favreau, and they had the bag of sand over here. That was Dave Filoni, and trying to switch them out. And we all know how that scene played out. I have a theory here that that someone from Lucasfilm thought putting Dave Filoni in that spot was going to be perfect, and it didn't work, and that this is a saving throw.
Yeah. I would have to agree.
Yeah. So John, I want to give you final thoughts here before we wrap this thing up. Do you think that this is a bait and switch? Do you think that they have taken something away from Dave Filoni and now replacing him with Jon Favreau? Do you think this is something that Kathleen Kennedy did? Do you think this is something that Bob Iger did? Or is this just everyone playing along well with each other, and we're just jumping at shadows?
Yeah, it feels like it could be a bait and switch of sorts. I think that the chatter that I hear, and even among my own friends as well, is that Filoni is great for TV. However, there's a significant struggle with filler and lack of a through line when it comes to the overall narrative of his stuff. But the stuff that's good is really good. I had that phenomenon happen with Ahsoka, and then Mando season 3 to me it wasn't even Mando season 3. It was Mando and Bo-Katan, and mostly Bo-Katan. Which is fine. I
like Bo-Katan as a character. I don't like that they kind of made her the Mandalorian. There are moments in there where it's like, this is a great side character. This is a great person to drop into a moment. And I like Katie Sackhoff. She's not a bad looking woman, and she's got a good presence on screen. I believe her as a military chick. Sorry,
yeah.
Babe, dame. What's the proper woman? Yeah, that's the right word.
That is, yeah. That's the correct vernacular.
But trying this whole thing where they say, well, really, it could be the Mandalorians or whatever it was that Famuyiwa said about that made me cringe so much, because we're all showing up for presumably the main character here.
So all that to say, Jon Favreau's directing track record is certainly much greater than Filoni's, I would say, at this current juncture, at least. And I really loved the first 2 seasons of Mandalorian, and I think that a lot of the issue with season 3, and I know we get like a little blip in Book of Boba Fett with Luke and Grogu training, and they've been training for a couple years or whatever, and then poof, it's over. He's back with Din Djarin. Those are the things that are kind of head scratchers, right? Because you can't just throw in a character like Luke Skywalker and then not use him even in a single episode in all of Mando season 3. It feels like there should have been some communication. It feels like Luke would have known that there was some sort of existential threat. It doesn't feel realistic that he wouldn't be there to help out with Moff Gideon. So all these things, and then just to switch gears for 2 seconds, going to the Rey film. Obviously, the sequel trilogy is fairly abhorred by most fans, and then the people that enjoy it.
Oh, by the way, we're officially calling that the spin-off trilogy on this channel.
Yeah, it is the spin-off trilogy. It feels like this is it feels like the whole Mandalorian and everything does feel like damage control in a sense, and it kind of felt like that from the get-go a little bit. Not that I disliked it.
Yeah, you make a really good point there. Sorry to interrupt you, but I'm going to agree with you. Most of their moves seem to be reactions to the reaction to their films. Rise of Skywalker, there are so many moments on screen, like Rose Tico showing up and saying, "Hi, I'm confirming that I exist, but I will not be in this film." It seems like Lucasfilm is continually doing their next film as a fan reaction to the previous film. I'm not saying George Lucas is totally immune from that. Obviously, Jar Jar Binks was heavily reduced after the Phantom Menace, but at the same time, that's a very small change.
I will always default to, it's just like you've already mentioned, like there's a lack of preparation, there's a lack of care in the scripts and in writing these things, and in making sure that there is a true through line through these narratives with characters that people love. And the thing with the Mandoverse too that's kind of wild is you have a lot of bleed over from Filoni's Clone Wars stuff.
Yes.
Which is I love.
I love it too. It's a little too much at times, but yes.
It can be. It definitely can be. But it to the point where it feels sometimes they don't feel like the characters that we knew in those shows, and then it takes you out of a little bit. Like I don't know. Ezra was like that for me, as well as Sabine and the Ahsoka show. They both kind of took me out of it. And even Ahsoka herself, up to a certain point, same thing. And it's I don't know. All that to say, to go back and answer your question, I think anything is on the table when it comes to Lucasfilm right now. I would say, like, there's so much chatter about how Marvel is in a dire state and that it's dying and whatever. Star Wars is the one that's truly, in my opinion, in a terrible state. And I still am of the persuasion that the Rey movie will not happen. I don't think that it's going to happen. That's my take.
I would have disagreed with that 2 days ago. I would have disagreed with that a lot more strongly. But yeah, at this point, I think that, well, first of all, pointing out that none of those press releases mention Taika Waititi, even though Kathleen Kennedy has insisted that movie is still happening, and Taika Waititi has said that I'm still working on it, guys. Sorry, I'm still working on it, guys. That's more Rhys Darby than Taika Waititi there, but thank you. And of course, Star Wars has a much smaller palette of characters to lean on if they want to revive Star Wars. They have to go with something pretty central, and it probably has to relate to the Skywalker family. Whereas Marvel has, I don't know, they have like 60,000 characters or something like that. There's somebody that they haven't used that they can go to and say, oh yeah, well, here's your Punisher film. There's your thing. Your Punisher spotlight, which of course, I just want to say, me and John will be talking about Echo sometime very soon. So John, what's more important to me in this moment is that people go check out your channel. Can you tell people what you do and where they can find you?
Yes, my channel is called Cine Park Rangers, and you can just find that by searching it on YouTube, as well as Instagram, Twitter, all that sort of stuff. But we talk theme parks and movies. I'm a filmmaker by trade. That's my background. So I come at every video with that perspective in mind, but I have a very fond love for theme parks. So we talk a lot about that. I've got a video on nostalgia and how it affects our viewing of theme parks and movies coming out extremely soon, sometime this week. And I would appreciate you guys going and subscribing, liking videos, commenting, engaging in discourse, all those sorts of things. I love it. So,
and I personally think that John is on his way up. He's got great skills, and I think he's got a good presence. So you guys go check him out. Of course, thank you everyone for watching this far into the video. Like this video if you like this video. Please consider sharing this out if you know someone who's interested in this kind of thing. And of course, consider subscribing to That Park Plays for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.